Hey guys, it's me, Pop Rocks, and today I'm going to bring you the second part of my One Piece Rivals roster. And sorry, in the first part I had to cut it short with our Dreadnoughts, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that first video. It took me a while, so hopefully you can sit through it and watch it. That'd be awesome. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the Buccanners, or the DPS, of One Piece Rivals. So first up, we gotta start it nice and strong with the 5th Emperor, or I guess the 4th Emperor now, Monkey D. Luffy. Now, Luffy's primary fire is going to be Gomu Gomu no Pistol, where Luffy stretches his arm in front of him to hit enemies. Ammo, infinite, it's basically just Mr. Fantastic Punch. Maybe either a little bit shorter, or it's not like the thing where you can drag it through enemies. I don't know for sure, but this is just the concept. And then you have his secondary fire, Gomu Gomu no Gatling, where Luffy stretches his arms in a flurry of rapid punches. Ammo, also infinite, but I meant to put it's on a resource meter, so I'm going to actually do that now. But anyway, moving on. For his first ability, it's going to be Second Gear, where basically he'll just focus and he'll go into his Gear 2 state, emitting steam from his body. His speed will increase and his primary and secondary fires become hit scan. This will be on a cooldown. And now let's go back to the jet variants of his primary and secondary fire. For his primary fire, you have Gomu Gomu no Jet Pistol, Gear 2nd required. He punches at lightning speeds, making his hit scan now primary. Nope, his primary now hit scan, the ammo, infinite. And then Gomu Gomu no Jet Gatling, which is just the normal Gatling, but, hit scan. For his second ability, we have Gomu Gomu no King Kong Gun. Luffy briefly transforms into Gear 4 and then charges up a mid to long range punch to knock back enemies in a line. This will be in like a longer cooldown. I'm thinking like 8, 12 seconds, maybe even 15, but you'll see soon that maybe we won't do 15 for this for a reason. His ultimate will be Gear 5th, where his hair, clothes turn white. He'll be hovering now instead of walking, and he'll use Gomu Gomu no UFO to fly, which I just thought would be fun. His attacks become faster and stronger, and if he presses his ultimate again, he'll rise above the skybox basically with his Bajrang gun and then bring it down into a desired area to do a bunch of AoE damage. And then his passive is Rubber Body, which he'll receive less knockback and stun, which is very important because a lot of characters have slows, knockbacks, and stuns, but that's because probably 80% of the cast is actually melee. So with that, we're going to be ending our Luffy concept and moving on to Zoro. And I actually did just crunch the numbers. It is 52% of the roster. It has a melee primary. But anyway, on to our Zoro concept. Speaking of melee primary, his primary fire is 3 sword style strike. Basically, he'll just use his 3 sword style to, attack you at close range. Pretty simple. Infinite ammo / no ammo. His secondary fire is 3 sword style slash, which is like one of his ranged attacks. Because, most of these melee characters will have a sort of ranged attack if their primary is mostly close range. His first ability is Ashura 3000 Worlds, while also the slash will be on a cooldown. First ability, Ashura 3000 Worlds. He'll basically triple himself visually and then spin around in a circle. Not in a circle. In a line where the player determines where it goes. That'll be a little bit of a longer cooldown. And then he has basically his Tatsumaki, Kojiko, nope, I'm not even going to say it, his Tatsumaki, where he'll just swipe his swords and then create a tornado. That's still on one of those longer cooldowns if you play Overwatch, 10 seconds max, 8-10 seconds, something like that. His ability 3 is going to be Santoryu Ai, which basically he'll brace himself for a moment, and then dash forward, cutting enemies in a line. That'll be on one of those lower cooldowns. His ultimate is King of Hell, the one that he used against King, and basically he'll jump up into the air, activate his Conquerors and Armament Hockey, flashing around big display, then he'll dash down and slice, and then enemies he hits with it explode a moment later. And then finally for Zoro's passive, Will the Sword. Every time Zoro deals damage, he gains increased damage resistance for about 3 seconds, which right now I have up to 35%. So yeah, that's my Zoro hero concept. And if you thought we were going to talk about Sanji, you would be incorrect. He's later in the DPS lineup. But no, we're going to be talking about Eustace Captain Kid. So, Kid's primary fire is called Magnetic Gauntlet. Basically, he'll just deal heavy punches to enemies. Ammo is infinite slash non-existent. His secondary fire will be Metal Barrage, which it's kind of like the secondary fire on Magneto in Rivals if you've played that, but it's more like a shotgunny spread. Think, the new Ramatra perk that lets him, like, shoot a little burst after a few pellets. It's like that, sort of, in how it acts, just it's only the burst. That'll be on a cooldown, one of the shorter ones. His ability 1 is going to be Punk Gibson. He'll dash forward, grab an enemy, and slam them into the ground for some pretty good single target damage. That'll be on only a mid-range cooldown. Ability 2, Magnetic Repulsion. Now, I like this. It gives him skill expression. Kid fires a magnetic pulse that knocks enemies and or himself back if they are in the blast radius. So you can use this to get high ground or use it to like engage, disengage. It's pretty good. It's again one of those like lower to mid range cooldowns depending on how I'm feeling. His ultimate is going to be Damned Punk, which if you haven't read the manga, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but when Kid went to Elbaf and was about to destroy Shanks' fleet using this Damned Punk, Shanks, one-shotted him because he's like, I can't let that happen. But no, he'll charge a massive railgun for a couple seconds and then fire it. It'll pierce enemies. So if you get hit with it and like your support's right behind you, they'll also get hit with it. So be careful. It'll be pretty good, and it'll be a little bit stronger if he charges it for a little bit longer than needed. And then finally for his passive, it's going to be Armor Crusher. Kid will just deal more damage to players with armor. I thought this would be cool since like his whole thing is magnetism. So it'd be interesting if he like could peel off the armor a lot easier than most characters. But yeah, that's my Captain Kid concept. Don't worry, Sanji fans, your boy made it, because we're on to Sanji for our next Buccaneer concept. Sanji's primary fire will be his Black Leg Barrage, which he'll just do a series of kicks at his opponent, which ends in a short knockback. Ammo infinite, non-existent, that sort of deal. His first ability is going to be Hache Jambe, which is just his axe kick that'll send out a wave of like air or hockey, and it'll be on a shorter cooldown like Zoro's. His second ability, now I like what I did with him. His second ability is Soru. Basically, Sanji will pick a spot, like really quickly, press the button, and he'll teleport there if it's in range. That's on a longer cooldown, 8 to 12 seconds. So he can't just go in, or like Soru, go in, punch, 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 and Soru out. No, he has to either Soru in, punch, 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 and then get out, or go in, Soru out. That's the idea. His ultimate is Ifrit Jambe, Wano again. He uses it against Queen after unlocking his Derma genes, spoilers, blah, blah, blah. Sanji's legs turn to blue flames, his speed and attack power increase, his cooldowns are halved, and his kicks now do fire damage as well as increased knockback. It's more of an enhancement ult, but I think it's good enough. Pretty simple for what he usually does with it, let's be honest. Now, he still has a passive and another ability. His next ability is on his jump. It's called Geppo. Basically, Sanji can use Geppo to allow him 2 additional jumps. So like Iron Fist, he can triple jump, but the jumps after his initial jump will be much higher, unlike Iron Fist, which I think are all generally the same, give or take. So yeah, and then his passive is Sorry Mon Cher, which is sorry my dear in French. I don't know why I didn't do sorry in French, but don't ask me. When Sanji tries to attack women, he does not do any damage, he just knocks them away. This was because in every single game Sanji is in, no matter what, he cannot damage the female characters. So I figured at the very least I can let you knock them away, so you're not just useless if they go all female characters, which is technically, I think, impossible, since it'll be 6 players, and one of your DPS, there's only one female DPS, so actually, you can still always hit at least one enemy in a match. Unless, of course... No. So yeah, you're good there if you are worried about that. Anyway, that is my Sanji hero concept. Now we're on to the man who killed Ace, Akainu. His primary fire was called Magma Fist. Basically, Akainu punches an enemy with a big fist of magma to deal burst damage. And I sort of close to mid-range, that's why I didn't include him in the mid-range. Close range. And he'll do fire damage over time. He can charge up the fist, sort of like a Doomfist Rocket Punch. Just imagine he just doesn't launch himself, so it'll just be bigger and do more damage. The cooldown when it's not charged is non-existent, and then the cooldown when charged will be 1 second. This is so you can't just spam it, boom, 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 like the Thing does, right? I don't like that the Thing can do that, Well, I mean, I do. I really do like it, but I know it would be annoying if you're getting bursted down by a DPS doing that. His ability 1 is called Lava Eruption. Basically, he'll punch the ground and a single magma pillar will appear in front of him, doing, some damage. It's like a mid-range cooldown. His second ability, Logia's Flowing Magma. He'll turn to magma, sink into the floor, gain more movement speed to reposition, and when he emerges, he'll do a small AoE of damage. This is on a 10 to 12 second, maybe even 15 second cooldown. Obviously, you would have to try this out, playtest it, all that, before you decide on a cooldown. But, I'm going off of a lot of Overwatch experience, and then more Rivals experience is why most of these are on the longer side, because they can be more powerful. So that's why I'm letting Logias be Logias. His ability 3 is called Volcanic Onslaught. He'll charge up 2 of his fists and punch forward with longer punches, leaving magma pools on the ground for a couple seconds that do fire damage. It's another mid-range cooldown. His ultimate is called Meteor Volcano. He'll jump into the air and basically he'll jump into the air so he can't be damaged. But it's like a Bastion ultimate. Or I guess he can be damaged. It'll be like a Bastion ultimate. You'll stay in the air. And then the Bastion part comes in when you select the 3 spots. And then you go boom, 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 sending up a couple magma fists. And then they'll go down, do some fire damage in that radius. And a couple seconds after, if somebody were to walk into it, there would still be fire there, so they take damage. And yeah, that is my Akainu hero concept. Next we got Koby, our boy from the Rocky Port incident and the Hachinosu incident that got Garp captured. Womp womp. Anyway, Koby's primary fire is going to be Tenacious Strikes. Flurry of punches that deal damage. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. His ammo infinite / non-existent per usual, which I'll probably stop saying eventually. Probably not. First ability. This is where we get into observation hockey. Because, with Sengoku, we use his Conqueror's hockey a lot. For Zoro and a couple others, we've used the armament hockey very, obviously. Even Gear 4 Luffy. Armament hockey, duh. So his first ability, Observation Evasion. Koby uses his observation hockey to dodge enemy attacks briefly, and must be timed correctly for him to avoid all damage, and this will have 2 charges, but the 2 charges are on separate cooldowns of 6 to 8 seconds. So the idea, right, is Koby can go in, be a little bit reckless, and then dodge, dodge once, get a little bit further back, dodge again, and if he does them both correctly, that's how he gets out. And then for his second ability, we have Captain's Rush. He'll dash at an enemy and uppercut them. He'll dash, hit you, then uppercut you with the other fist, and then to briefly movement lock you. This will be on a longer cooldown than that. His ability 3 will be Hockey Guard Breaker. He'll charge up his fist with Hockey and punch an enemy. And if they're using a guard ability like Jinbei's or like Garp's, he'll stun them for a moment. So this is 6 to 10 seconds. I'm not sure. The reason I say 6 to 10, 8 to 10, whatever, is because I'm not sure if the lower cooldown would be enough, so I would put it on a range. All these are on ranges for a reason, unless I'm confident, like the Akainu one. I'm confident that that one would be fine. For his ultimate, we have Honesty Impact, which is what he used on Hachinosu, and he'll select a target and then dash at them using his Haki to deal massive damage. Pretty simple, single target. His passive is called Moral Justice. When one of Koby's allies goes down, his cooldowns decrease significantly, and then when downing an enemy, he gets a cooldown reduction that's let's say 60%. So let's say he has a 10-second cooldown that just went off, right? If an ally goes down, it'll go down to 4 seconds. So it's a 6-second reduction, and then if he downs an enemy, it'll go down 3 instead of that 6, if that makes sense. Generally, it might go down by 2 instead, but this is something that I think would be cool. Kind of reflect the fact that he doesn't like people going down and dying, but he knows that it's what he needs to do as a Marine to defeat people and hurt them, even though he doesn't like it. But yeah, no, that is my Koby hero concept. I think Koby is potentially one of the most skill expressive heroes for the simple fact that he has the observation thing that needs to be timed. And yeah, I just think he'll give him a lot of skill expression, and hopefully it wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, that's my Koby concept. Now, controversial pick, okay? I have Sabo in next. Ace will be in the game. There are a lot of characters that aren't in my starting lineup, but they would be in the game eventually. Sabo is going to take place here because I went with currently live characters. Ignore Big Mom and Kaido. Anyway, Sabo. His primary fire will just be his Iron Pipe. He'll just, pipe attacks, pretty simple. It's like a boom, boom, boom type thing, Ammo, infinite slash non-existent. Again, I'll eventually stop saying that. His ability 1, Logia, Flame Body. Basically, Sabo turns into flames to move out of the way of danger while invulnerable, 10 to 12 seconds. I think this would look sort of like, not like he would fan out, kind of like Cloak and Dagger does, not like that. I think it would be more like he'd quickly dash back, just being mostly fiery, except probably his general silhouette would stay the same, I guess is a good way of putting it. It's kind of like Human Torch looks in the movies, just, good. For his ability 2, it would be called Scorching Slam. He'll light his pipe on fire and then slam it into the ground, doing a small AoE around him, fire damage. Be moderate cooldown. His third ability wanted to include his Dragon Talon, whatever it's called, Dragon Claw attacks. So Talon Strike. He'll dash forward, grab an enemy, and stun them with his grip, kind of like he did in the Colosseum on Dressrosa. That'll be like a shorter to moderate cooldown, I don't know yet. His ultimate would be Dragon Claw Fist of Brotherhood. And the reason I did not give him Fire Fist is because I wanted to give Ace Fire Fist, and if I gave Sabo Fire Fist instead of Ace, one, you'd be mad, or if I give them both Fire Fist, I would have to make Aces just better. Like, that's just the only way it would work. I would have to make Aces just objectively better. So, like, I just didn't want to do that. So Sabo just doesn't do it. Anyway, Dragon Claw Fist of Brotherhood. He'll use his Dragon Talon technique while setting his fists on fire, select a target, slam his quote-unquote claws into them, knock them back, and deal damage. Sort of like the Jinbei Million Brick Slam, or whatever I called it. Million Brick Strike. It's like that, but it does a little extra damage over time, fire damage, But yeah, that is my Sabo hero concept. Hopefully, the Ace thing will excite some of you, that Ace will also be in this in later installments. But yeah, with that, let's move on to our next person, who's going to be Katakuri, the eldest son. No, he's not the eldest son of Big Mom. Whatever, we're doing Katakuri. His primary fire is Mochi Fist. He'll extend his arms similar to Luffy, deal damage at a slightly farther than close range. So he's like close range to mid range, in the in-between. So like right before you would count as mid range, which I think is 10 to 15 meters or something, right? I think so, I don't know, like minimum. So then he would be like slightly shorter than that, but not as short as like 5 meters to be close range. He's like in that 7 or 8. His ability 1, we're doing observation hockey again. Now, hear me out. Future sight. Now, we cannot do in a game where you can predict where the enemy will go because the enemy's a person. That just wouldn't work. It would just be too inconsistent. So many bugs. It wouldn't be accurate. It'd be horrible. So instead, Katakuri uses observation hockey at the right time. He'll dodge incoming attacks and then attack back automatically on a 8 to 12 second cooldown. Now, the reason this is different from Koby is because Koby's observation hockey, 1, isn't future sight. So the way I'm differentiating future sight from normal observation hockey dodging is when Koby dodges, he doesn't attack back, he just dodges. But when Katakuri dodges, he'll hit you back. So he does not care. He'll strike you back where you came from. So yeah, that's how I'm going to differentiate those two. His ability 2 is called Doughy Absorption. He'll put one of his arms in front of him, like turning into Mochi and then blocking damage for himself. I just wanted a way for him to like defend himself. Maybe other people, depending on if they're hiding behind him, I don't know. That's just the idea here. And then finally, his ultimate is going to be Mochi Spiral Club. I didn't know what to call this. I'm basically using the Awakened Dough from Blox Fruits, if you've played that on Roblox. I'm using his ultimate from that, which basically means he'll go into a rolling donut, slam into somebody, and then swing around a Mochi club to get all enemies within the radius, swing them above his head, and then bring them down, which brings him up in like a Conqueror's hockey, like splash. It looks so cool in the game. For a Roblox game, it looks so sick. So I really wanted that in the game. So yeah, that's what his ultimate would be for me. But yeah, that is my Katakuri hero concept. Now for our only female Buccaneer for right now, hopefully. Like, hopefully for right now, as in, I will get more women on this roster for the DPS. But for now, we have Nami, another Straw Hat. I'm trying to get them all on here, so I'm really trying. Her primary fire is going to be Climb Attack Swipe. She'll swipe her Climb Attack pole thing, swipe at enemies, and knock them away at the end. Ammo, infinite. I'm not even going to say it. Ability 1 is Mirage Tempo. She'll create like a fog cloud around her, and then a clone will appear in her place as she goes invisible. So it's like, think of the Punisher's grenade, right? But you don't knock back, you don't knock them back. You just create the smoke around you, and then you do the Loki clone thing where you go invisible. It's sort of like that. I know this is like comparisons between other games, putting them together, but I'm just trying to make sure you guys have like the correct image I'm thinking of. So it's not like I say this, you think something either way worse or way better or just mid. I want it to be very clear what I'm picturing, you know, and because I'm making her invisible mostly because if you see the one moving, you're gonna attack the one moving. Who cares about the clone? The clone just stands there, doesn't do anything. For Nami's ability 2, I call it Gust Tempo. Basically, she'll swing her climate attack to send a wind at her enemies and allies. Enemies will get knocked back while allies get movement speed boost. It's on a moderate cooldown. I'm thinking like it would be like a tailwind sort of, so like they get it, but since the enemies are going against you, you know, they'll be being pushed. It makes sense. So I don't need to explain myself anymore. And finally, her ultimate, Zeus's Wrath. Basically, she'll swing her climate attack downward, and then wherever she did it, be it an enemy or environment, it'll strike that place twice with lightning from Zeus, which is her little cloud she stole from Big Mom, if you do not know. So yeah, that is my Nami Buccaneer / DPS concept. Alright, don't worry people, we're getting closer to the end of the video. So right now, we're talking about Smoker, which is our, I think, 5th Logia on the list. I may be wrong. He's 4th or 5th. Not in the DPS roster, but he's 4th or 5th overall, I think. So yeah, Smoker. His primary fire is Smoke Fist. He'll throw a mid-range, like, Smoke Punch, you know? Ammo, infinite. His ability 1 is called Cloud Trail. I like this one. He'll turn to smoke and automatically move in the player's facing direction with quickly reposition 10 to 12 seconds. So like I think it'd be so cool because there was a Moira concept at one point, not official but a concept where you could make her fade, or no, it was a Reaper fade. My bad. It was a Reaper rework where his fade looked like it did in the trailer. It was so cool. I really liked it. So this is basically what that is, but you know, actually done. But it's white smoke because obviously, Smoker. Come on. His ability 2 is Sea Stone Slam. He's using Jite here. He'll dash in an enemy and then jab them with Jite into the ground, able to hold them for a couple seconds or until Smoker is damaged. So yeah, Smoker takes damage. He will let you up because he's like, ow, I'm not staying here no more. Yeah, mid-range cooldown. His ability 3 is Smoke Cage. He'll just select a target and then they'll be locked for a moment. It's just long enough to like annoy you, like 1.25 seconds, if that. You know, just a quick. It's a more of a longer cooldown, like 8 to 12, rather than like the low gears and stuff, 10 to 12. You know, his ultimate is called a White Inferno. Smoker covers a large area in smoke that lowers enemy vision and lets allies see enemies in the smoke being like that enemies being highlighted, kind of. So utility ult, but it's pretty good if you got like some Zoro, some Sanji, or some Luffy. You know, they run in real quick, boom, 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 leave, and the enemy's like, where's our healers? Oh, they're already dead. Oh no, you know, that was the idea. His passive is called Smoke Screen Escape. When he gets low HP, he'll turn to smoke for a couple seconds and then become tangible after those couple seconds. Again, like the other things I've said, they're like this 20 to 45 maybe minutes cooldown. I just think like having more than one Logia ability is good sometimes because like this one, Smoker has potential, but he's still probably going to be squishy, so you want him to be able to reposition every once in a while. But let's be honest, the passives do get a little crazier as the list and as the characters go on, but it's mostly in the support. But that's not our problem right now because we're moving on to Beckman, one of our only sniper characters in the game / long range characters. So, Beckman, he'll have his flintlock rifle. He'll, shoot his rifle to hit people at long range. He'll have about 30 ammo, give or take. And he will not have a scope shot. It'll just be hip fires, but it won't really have the big fall off, so it's very long range. His secondary fire is called Rifle Bash. He'll swing his gun at an enemy in close range to knock them back, and then he'll gain movement speed to reposition or to finish the enemy off if he so chooses. He'll be on like a 3 to 6 second, the lower end, lower to mid. His ability 1 is called Hockey Infused Bullet. Couldn't think of a better name, I'm being honest. Beckman infuses a single bullet with Hockey to pierce enemies through barriers and walls. Now, this ties into his third ability, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. This will be on like a 6 to 10 second cooldown, so mid to maybe on the longer end. His ability 2, Tactical Step. He'll use a combat roll to automatically reload his gun, and then rolling toward an enemy will have him automatically use Rifle Bash against them. Now this will only be if it's on cooldown, but if he uses it, it'll put Rifle Bash's cooldown on half. So if it's 3 seconds, it'll be on 1.5 after using this. This again, 6 to 10 seconds. Now here's the crazy one that goes with Hockey Infused Bullet. Observing Eye, which is his observation hockey, but since he's a sniper, I didn't want to give him too much, so here's how we're going to do the other half of observation that isn't just dodging. Beckman uses his observation hockey to reveal enemies within a big range for a moment through walls. So you want to do observing Eye and then Hockey Infused Bullet, or vice versa. Quick succession is 8 to 12 seconds. On the longer end, almost like a Logia ability, because it has the potential to be really good. His ultimate is called Bullet Storm. Now this one is a little bit one of those like ones where it makes less sense, but just hear me out. Beckman focuses hockey and selects up to 3 enemies for a powerful hockey bullet to hit twice each. So it's like he'll use his Hockey Infused Bullet, which does more damage, and then he'll select 3 people, and then it'll go boom, 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 or to go boom, 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 boom. It's like that. I couldn't really think of anything that wouldn't just be like a Soldier ult, or a Star-Lord ult, or a Punisher ult. I didn't want basic. So we tried to get a little creative. But yeah, that is my Beckman hero concept. And now for our final Buccaneer. I bet you cannot guess who it'll be. I'll give you a couple moments. Did you guess? Well, if you did guess X Drake, you'd be correct. If you didn't, I am not surprised. If you did, though, wow, good job. Wasn't expecting that. I would figured you'd say, I don't know, literally anybody else, but whatever. Primary fire for X Drake will be his rapier and his 4-bladed axe strikes. I didn't know what to call it. In game, it would probably be called rapier and 4-bladed axe. But X Drake will stab at an enemy with his rapier, boom, 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 and then ending with a swing of the axe. No ammo, no cooldown, stuff like that. His secondary fire is going to be Excalibur, which I think is the first move we see Drake use. He'll basically focus hockey and then dash forward, making an X-shaped slash, hitting a single enemy. This will be like 4 to 6 seconds, because I realized when making this ability, it's just Zoro's II stance, so I wanted to make it slightly different, so I was like, how do I make it slightly different? I got it. Just make it only hit one enemy. It'll be worse, sure, but he has other abilities Zoro does not, so I figured it was a worthy sacrifice of X-Drake. His first ability, Hybrid Transformation, Allosaurus Charge. He'll turn into his hybrid form and charge at the enemy, taking reduced damage and then slamming down at the end of the charge. This will be like a 6 to 10 second, pretty longer end, but mostly mid. It'll be like a 35% reduction. I'm not sure how that would play out. We'd have to see. His second ability, once again, a hybrid transformation, this time Primal Pounce. Transform into hybrid form and then leap forward, sort of like a Hulk leap. But it's like the middle of the Hulk type leap, It's pretty okay range. It'll be on like a mid cooldown, 6 to 8 seconds. His ultimate is full transformation, Apex Predator. He'll transform into his full Allosaurus form, gain health and damage reduction, and then his primary becomes a series of tail swipes and bites. And the rest of his abilities become just bigger, so his Primal Pounce and his Allosaurus Charge will be bigger. His Excalibur, don't worry about that, just ignore that. And yeah, this would be like a 70% damage reduction, because if you think about it, right, let's say he's like at 300 HP, right? If he only goes up to like 450, maybe 500, he's a big target, so he's going to need a lot of damage reduction. And then finally, for his passive, it will be Ancient Fury. He'll deal more damage to enemies under 60% HP, because, idea is, dinosaur sees a wounded creature, might as well go finish it off. That's the idea. But yeah, that is my final Buccaneer for this concept, X Drake. I really do hope you guys like this. If you made it this far, I love you. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps out a ton, and I know statistically it'll help you see my videos more, and it'll put me out more. So please do that. And if you want to comment something but you don't know what to comment your opinion on your favorite and least favorite of these concepts, Comment if you watched the last video or if you're going to watch the next video, all that type of stuff. Maybe even comment what else you want to see after I'm done with the stewards/supports. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.